Hello everyone! Today I'm going to talk about classes, one of the most important concepts in any object-oriented programming language like C#. An object is defined by its properties, variables, and methods, but where do they get them? And that's where the class comes in. It acts as a template to create an object. Let's dig into the code. Let's start by creating a console application. Let's call classes, and on the classes project let's add a new class. Add class, and for this example I'm going to use a rectangle. Now every class can have four sections: one for the fields, one for the properties, one for the constructor, and one for the methods. The fields is a section where the variables get into it. We define a rectangle by the size of its edges. So let's create two variables, let's say x and y. The fields these variables usually are private, they are only accessible within the class. For this project we want to make a property for just one of the edges. We are going to make the x edge available publicly. So I'm going to say that public integer x, it will have a get accessor which will return the value of x. And for the y side, integer y, we are going to allow it to be set. So we're going to say set, the y will be equal to the given value. Now a constructor is just like a method. It's the method that is called when the class or the object is created, and is defined by defining it as public and then copying the class name and put some arguments if we are expecting some. In this case I'm expecting two integers, one is called the x and one is called the y. So x equals new given x and y is equals to the given y. And finally the methods. These are functions that will be called. Let's say we want the user to know the area. We are going to create a public method that will return an integer and will be called getArea. It won't take any argument and will return the product between one edge times the other. Now we've got our class field with all the members. We've got the edge size, the accessors or properties, a constructor and a method. And now we are going to create an object with those characteristics. I'm going to the main and create an object of the type rectangle. Rectangle equals a new rectangle. And what this says is that it's going to create a new object called rectangle, and it will start with the constructor. As we see here, we've got a red wiggling line under the rectangle, and if you over the mouse over it, it says there is no argument given that corresponds to the required formal parameter. It's expecting two arguments, x and y, and if we go to our rectangle class, we see that on our constructor it's expecting exactly that, an x and an y, two arguments, two integers. So if you put here, for example, 2 and 3, it now accepts it. Now we've got an object called rectangle. Let's test if we can access our x. X equals x. That's great, there are no errors, everything's fine. Now let's try the same thing with y. And as expected, it's giving an error. Why? Because this property allows us to read the value of x, but this one, the y property, doesn't allow us to do that. It only allows us to change the y value. So what can you say here is that the y value will be now equal to 5. And finally, we are going to check if the method is working. We are going to create a new variable called area that will be equal to the rectangle getArea. And we are going to print it on our console. And let's run it. And we get an area of 10 as we were expecting. We've got x equals to 2, y was equal to 3, but then was changed to 5, and 5 times 2 is equal to 10. And that's it for today. With this knowledge, you are now able to create a new class using fields, properties, a constructor or multiple constructors, and methods. I hope you enjoyed and see you next time.